The American-Israeli war of aggression against Iran is now entering into its 11th day. As of recording, the vast majority of casualties have been inflicted by America and Israel. The primary victims of this have been the Iranian people and people in Lebanon. Not even close.
Contrary to Americans who deliberately targeted our schools and hospitals and our infrastructure, even freshwater desalinations.
The US and Israel are targeting water infrastructure, oil infrastructure, civilian infrastructure like hospitals, schools, police stations. In Tehran, the city of 10 million people, they ignited a giant poisonous gas cloud that lingered all over the city of 10 million people, and it's literally a gas cloud of toxic oil petrochemicals and will have impacts on the health of Iranians for the rest of their lives. Probably in the first hours of the war, America blew up a school full of young girls in Iran, directly targeting a school where at least 150 people were killed, the vast majority schoolgirls. Immediately after that attack against schoolgirls and the assassination of their supreme leader, the Prime Minister of Canada, Mark Carney, came out and said, yes.
Canada's position on the developments in the Middle East remains clear. The Islamic Republic of Iran is the principal source of instability and terror throughout the Middle East, and we reaffirm Israel's right to defend itself. Canada supports the United States acting to prevent Iran from obtaining a nuclear weapon.
Canada supports these actions because Iran bad. Carney's doing this in support for the fascist Donald Trump and the wanted war criminal Benjamin Netanyahu. And I must remind people that Mark Carney has materially supported Israel's and apartheid of Palestinians throughout his entire tenure as prime minister. Government officials in Iran are calling Trump the corrupt island man.
A reminder to the corrupted island man. The ground and the map of the war is in our hands. This will continue.
In reference to Epstein, who was Donald Trump's best friend for a decade and is clearly implicated. Carney is so by U.S. empire that he's willing to support
the corrupted island man
just to not rock the boat, because that's what his capital-owning class buddies want. If you enjoy my content, please like and subscribe. You gotta do it. And then over the course of the past 10 days, Mark Carney has made Canada's position more obscured. It changed to Mark Carney regrettably supports this war of aggression against a country of 93 million people.
Canada has long supported the imperative of neutralizing this grave global threat. We support efforts to prevent Iran from obtaining a nuclear weapon. We do, however, take this position with regret because the current conflict is another example of the failure of the international order.
Regrettably, because by Mark Carney's own assessment, it is a crime against international law.
Prima facie, it appears that these actions are inconsistent with international law.
Mark Carney's trying to distance himself and ease it off because obviously this is a grossly unpopular war in Canada. Mark Carney's walking the fine line of balancing internal discontent, particularly within his own Liberal Party, and staying attached to the hip with the dying U.S. empire and Israel. In order to release some pressure on the discontent of this war of aggression in Canada, Mark Carney organized a debate in the House of Commons. Wow, a debate. And guess what? He didn't show up.
We've just heard from the Prime Minister's office that at least at this point, he does not intend to participate in the debate tonight. That is unacceptable.
He didn't show up. The one guy who has final say on Canadian foreign policy didn't show up. What's the point? This is just a pressure valve to allow some discontent to be shared while still holding the same position of regrettably supporting this international crime by his own words and standards. That is Mark Carney, and therefore Canada's official position.
Prima facie, it appears that these actions are inconsistent with international law.
He just likes to LARP as Canada's CEO, where he gets to go around and do whatever he wants, wherever he wants, whenever he wants. He won't even show up to his own debate on a war of aggression started by America and Israel, which he made Canada officially support, and he doesn't show up.
We support Iran from never obtaining a nuclear weapon. Iran must never have nuclear capacity. The support is not a blank check.
Now, the one thing that Mark Carney has been consistent on in his messaging is Iran bad.
Canada has long seen Iran as the principal source of instability and terror in the Middle East.
So in the face of a war of aggression against a country of 93 million people, ancient culture with a rich history, he just keeps landing back on Iran bad over and over again. How about America bad? Israel bad? No, he doesn't say that shit, because he supports it. While Iran has been suffering the brunt of the wars, they are still punching back. They're destroying U.S. military assets. Iran is surrounded by U.S. military bases, okay? And importantly, they have de facto closed the Strait of Hormuz. 20% of all oil traveled through this tiny 30-kilometer little band of water right off the coast of Iran. Iran is essentially wielding control of its own backyard as leverage against the American-Israeli war of aggression. So this war of aggression is already coming back to hurt Canadians on the domestic front, in addition to, obviously, Iranian Canadians who have family members who have been attacked and bombed by the American-Israeli war of aggression against Iran. But this will also be felt in inflation. Global oil prices are skyrocketing, gas prices are going to go up, and as a result, food prices are going to go up. But it's not just oil that's been shaken. The Strait of Hormuz also saw massive quantities of fertilizer products. Now that's cut off. So fertilizer prices are increasing dramatically right at springtime planting season, increasing food prices further. This is a disaster of a war. It is fundamentally crushing the global economy and really highlighting how much of a paper tiger American hegemony has been. The American empire is in rapid decline and is dying. Material conditions in Canada are already degraded and are degrading more and more over time. There isn't a positive vision for the future of Canada. Everything seems to suck, especially for younger Canadians. Carney's government's official policy is explicitly to make Canadians sacrifice more. What's he going to do with all those extra resources from sacrificing parts of the population? Well, his vision is to turn Canada into a militarized petrostate that feeds U.S. empire and paying for it with Canadian suffering. Meanwhile, he's loaded, okay? He's not sacrificing any. Mark Carney has at least $10 million in assets, more money than you'll ever see in your lifetime. He's got several homes, and he's literally flying around the world, whining and dining with the global elite. He's not sacrificing anything. He's winning. He's winning because he's fighting the class war on behalf of the wealthy ruling class elite, the capital-owning class. Meanwhile, Carney fired 16,000 public employees, and he plans on firing tens of thousands more in the face of an unemployment crisis in Canada. That's called evil. He is the cartoonish depiction of a global elite CEO world banker who has been a part of the ruling class that has put Canada in the position it is in now. A pretty weak position. It is disgusting to me, the way Mark Carney has ruled Canada. Canadians deserve a good future, and Mark Carney's plan is deliberately to make it worse. It feels quite doomer, but you can never give up. So no matter what Canada's wishy-washy position is on the war in Iran.
You've asked a fundamental hypothetical in a conflict that can spread very broadly. Today's events, recent events, point to that. So one can never categorically rule out participation. We will stand by our allies.
Will they, won't they get involved? What will be the true tell of the Canadian government's complicity in American empire and their crimes is an upcoming vote on the No More Loopholes Act, which would close the American loophole that allows Canadian material to go support Israel. So far, looks like it's going to fail.
Yeas pour 22-22. Nays contre 295 295. Je déclare la... I declare the motion defeated.
Both the conservatives and the liberals are deeply embedded with the capital-owning class who are completely content with being a subservient dog to American empire. The capital-owning class is fine with that. So Mark Carney and PP are fine with it. We need to remember how people voted for this and make sure that they cannot live their lives without remembering how they voted. Anyways, that's my update on the American-Israeli war of aggression against Iran and Canada's position on it. We'll see how things develop further. In the meantime, free Palestine, peace and love everybody. Take care. Until next time.